Now, speaking of how to overcome that, this next part of leadership here is, and we already mentioned it's will. And it's something that I obviously identify as extremely important because it's the driver of life. It's the driver of your discipline, is your will to make things happen. Mm-hmm. And it keeps us on the path. It keeps us on the path to victory. And I talked about it when I was on the Sam Harris podcast. And I also talked about it on the History Channel for the Live to Tell episode, which is about Mark Lee, the first SEAL killed in Iraq. And I talked about, what does it take to win? And the most important thing it takes to win is will. The will to win. So the Marine Corps goes into a story that's about will. And I'm going to read it. Assigned to defend a 3-mile mountain pass along the division's main supply line and commanding the only route of approach, Captain Barber took position with his battle-weary troops and, before nightfall, had dug in and set up a defense along the frozen, snow-covered hillside. When a force of estimated regimental strength savagely attacked during the night, inflicting heavy casualties and finally surrounding his position, following a bitterly fought 7-hour conflict, Captain Barber, after repulsing the enemy, gave assurance that he could hold if supplied by airdrops and requested permission to stand fast after orders were received to fight his way back to a relieving force, after 2 reinforcing units had been driven back under fierce resistance in attempts to reach the isolated troops. So here was Captain Barber with his troops. They're on this ridge line. They hold off the enemy, and then they get told, hey, you know what? Now that you've held the enemy off, go ahead and fight back to our position. And he says, no, we're not fighting back. We're going to stay here. We're going to hold this ground. Although severely wounded, Captain Barber continued to maintain personal control, often moving up and down the lines on a stretcher to direct defense, and consistently encourage and inspiring his men to supreme efforts despite the staggering opposition. Waging desperate battle throughout 5 days and 6 nights of repeated onslaughts launched by fanatical aggressors, he and his heroic command accounted for approximately 1,000 enemy dead in this epic stand in bitter sub-zero weather. And when the company was relieved, only 82 of his original 220 men were able to walk away from the position, so valiantly defended against insuperable odds. His profound faith and courage, great personal valor, and unwavering fortitude, which is in other words his will, were decisive factors in the successful withdrawal of the division from the death trap in the Chozin Reservoir sector. That's will. And that shows you what will is capable of. I mean, when you talk about sub-zero temperatures, you just put people out in sub-zero temperatures for a night. That will break most people. Now get attacked all night. Now stay up there for 5 days and 6 nights. It's the only thing that can win in that battle is will, human will.